Check, 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 mic check. Check, check, mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check, mic check. Check, 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 mic check.
You ready? Roll call. Councilmember Morrell?
Here.
Councilmember Girusso is present. Councilmember Harris. Councilmember King. Councilmember Green. We have 2 members. We do not have a quorum. Let the record reflect that. Councilmembers Moreno and Thomas are present.
Thank you very much. As many of you know, the meeting today is being held to discuss the letter that was sent both to myself and to Mayor Cantrell by the Department of Housing and Urban Development regarding the potential suspension of funding from the federal level in regards to Mayor Latoya Cantrell, as well as, for some reason, Officer Vappy from signing documents regarding to HUD and HUD developments. Can we have OCD and representatives of OCD and representatives from Hano to come down to the desk? The purpose of this meeting was to have representatives from our Office of Community Development as well as the Housing Authority of New Orleans to kind of give a briefing as far as the letter, their interpretation of the very bizarre letter, as well as what their collective responses will be. We're trying to provide information to the public, to the thousands or tens of thousands of people that are going to be impacted by what is proposed in this letter, as well as kind of our collective response. So whenever y'all are ready.
Thank you so much. My name is Marjorie-Anna Willman. I'm the Executive Director at HANO. And so I have had some discussion with the local HUD field office, and I explained that the mayor does not have a signatory authority or a delegated authority at HANO. And so the field office has said that our operations should be the same as usual, no impact. So I'm expecting no impact to HANO's operations or funding.
So just for clarification so the public knows, as far as HANO is concerned, Housing Authority of New Orleans, the mayor has no direct signatory authority, so this letter does not affect HANO or HANO's operations whatsoever.
Correct.
Okay. I'm just reiterating it so everybody clearly understands.
Sure.
So next we go to OCD, and give us the breakdown there.
All right, good afternoon. I'm Tyra Johnson-Brown, Executive Director for Housing Policy, Community, and Workforce Development. In regards to OCD's funding, the letter and the signatory suspension, there is, according to the charter, where the mayor can designate someone to sign for her, and that has happened in the past. So as we expected, there will be no effect on the programs, the funding, or anything else. So we will move forward and continue operations as usual.
And just to give clarification so the public understands, so under the charter, section 6308, the mayor, under the mayor's authorization, the chief administrative officer, director of property management can sign in her stead. So what is being expressed is there is a mechanism that already exists for the mayor to delegate signatory authority on behalf of the city to another person. So it's the position of the mayor and the OCD that we're going to activate that authority, and that a third party will be signing, not the mayor, which would address the stated concerns of the letter. Councilman Druso.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm sorry I haven't had a chance to talk to you. I just saw the letter for the first time yesterday. I just want to ask this question. It says in the letter that the HUD notifies the mayor and Mr. Vappy of suspension from participation in procurement and non-procurement, and here's the important word, transactions, as a participant or principal with HUD and throughout the executive branch of federal government. Does that mean that, I think you've already answered the signatory question, Ms. Brown. Does that also mean that now issues related to procurement and non-procurement will run through OCD at this point?
So it always has ran through OCD. Just for clarity, the procurement process that OCD currently has in place is one that was actually developed with HUD, with local HUD. And that process is what we have used always, and it does not go straight to the mayor. That's a process that's separate and apart. And we will move forward with that as we are required to do as it relates to procurement per regulations of HUD.
And if you had an issue for some reason, the easiest thing for you to do would be now to report to interim CAO Joe Threat.
That's correct.
All right. Just one more thing too. I know nobody's here, but there's also something that allows the mayor to appeal this. And so I just, if there's somebody from the law department, I think it should be noted that this is not the final word. There is also a process for this to be appealed as well, which I think is important. Thank you.
Council Vice President, and then after that, Councilmember Thomas.
Thank you. Just to follow up, just for extra clarity, so is there another signatory who's been appointed at this point?
The administration they're working on that. According to the charter, it will be probably the CAO.
The CAO? Okay,
yes.
Great. And then there's a part of this letter, and I don't know, I'm not understanding what this all could mean, but it says that you're prohibited, this is the mayor, from participating in any non-procurement or procurement transaction. So what would a non-procurement transaction be?
It's not clear.
The only thing I could think of is probably the contracting But the mayor does not, I mean, she signs the contract, but not with the procurement. So I'm not sure what is meant by that. I can just assure the community that when it's a procurement process, that the integrity of that process is there. There is nothing that goes outside of that. And as I stated, that's a process that has been developed by HUD and approved by HUD.
Yeah. What steps are being taken just so that we make sure that, you know, I know that the local HUD office said, you know, that they think everything's going to be fine, but just what are we doing to reach out to the person who wrote this letter and be assured that the steps that we're taking put us in the right place so that really we know that nothing's going to be impacted?
So for OCD, just as Morgiana has said, we have been in conversation with local HUD. Local HUD has not gotten any guidance from their field office, so everyone is just in a holding pattern. The best thing at this time, because it's on the mayor and not the city,
Yeah.
is to remove her from the signatory process.
Y'all, this is bizarre. Very.
It is.
Thank y'all for being here and trying to do all that you can to try to help us navigate through this so that people are not impacted.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas?
Yeah, just first for the non-procurement usually means transactions of any type, period. So that excludes you from other operational functions, including procurement. What do you guys, I mean, the news is here, you know, the alarm has sounded. The reason we had a special meeting. What do you guys tell the public about this issue, especially now that, you know, of course, we have our press here, thinking that the citizens are going to lose something. We're potentially going to be sacrificing the funds, and especially in housing critical areas. Just a statement from you guys to the public to how they can understand this and how it affects them and how we move forward, please.
I would just say that the letter itself is highly unusual. We do not know what's going to happen in the future, but what I can say, speaking for Hanno, is that we will do everything that we can to protect the citizens and make sure that there is no interruption in the resources that we receive from HUD. We're following the rules, we're in contact with HUD, and we're doing everything we can to maintain our operations and keep things moving for the sake of the city and the people that depend on these very important resources.
Do you anticipate any penalty or consequence?
I do not,
Okay.
based on the letter, but again, I would say it's a highly unusual letter, but you know, HUD is our partner, and so we work with HUD, and we're working with HUD to make sure that there are never interruptions with our processes or funding.
Well, the federal government in the past has questioned how CBDG funds and certain funds
Sure.
are used. They've done that. They've sent threatening letters about what they thought were inappropriate use or not the use intended. But I don't remember any drastic consequences because of it. You just had to explain it
Sure.
and give them the answers that, quote unquote, they were looking for. Ms. Brown?
Yes, and that's correct to what you're saying. What we've received in the past is pretty much based upon a monitoring review when they're actually coming out to look at the program and eligibility, but we've never received a letter like that. As Morgiana said, it is unusual. However, being that it's an unusual situation and we have been in contact with local HUD, we continue to move forward with normal operations, programs. I don't see funding being affected now. We don't know what's to come later on, but for right now, it's normal course of business.
Yeah, two things. First, Councilman Harris sent a statement. She wasn't able to be here. She wanted me to read it, so I'll read that right quick. From Councilmember Harris, I'm deeply concerned about how this instability could impact the workforce and affordable housing in New Orleans. Voters approved dedicating 2% of the city's general fund, roughly $17 million annually beginning in 2026, to the Housing Trust Fund precisely to ensure long-term reliable funding for housing that cannot be derailed by political changes. At the same time, HUD's suspension of the mayor for procurement activities raises new questions about the continuity and our federal partnerships, which are essential to keeping housing dollars flowing into local projects. My priority is to make sure these challenges do not slow progress on the ground. Affordable housing developments are already in motion, from new rental units to the rehabilitation of existing homes, and must continue without disruption. I will continue to fight to ensure that our workforce and affordable housing commitments are protected and advanced no matter the political climate. I just want to add, just because there is a lot about this letter that has created uncertainty, and even the mechanism in which the letter was delivered to the public. As many of you are aware, we all became aware of this letter on the 3rd via social media when the Secretary of HUD posted it on social media. I became aware around the same time because I was contacted by local news sources who were saying the Washington Examiner said I had seen this letter and I was CC'd on the letter. Now here's what I want to point out to everyone. This is the letter. It's dated October 3rd, letter. Here's the FedEx package that I received on September 4th, which means the letter was circulated to the press and to the public before I possibly could have seen it. And another thing that is equally bizarre is that the letter was sent to me at City Hall, which is appropriate, but the letter was mailed to the mayor's house, which is also bizarre, because the letter is sent to the mayor in her capacity as mayor, but was mailed to her house. Now, the reason why I say these things is because there is an element of terror and political theater that is inherently wrapped around this letter, because it was leaked to a media outlet before the parties that are targeted in the letter, the mayor, and the party that was supposed to get a copy of it, I guess me, even saw the letter. And so it makes our collective lives much more difficult when we have people that do letters like this that inspire terror and fear in a community, when there's not even the effort to allow the parties, the city itself, being able to respond in the appropriate way before the letter had to have been leaked in real time to the press based upon when this was mailed through FedEx. My point being in all of this, we are in a different political climate. I know for years we've dealt with different administrations using HUD or other federal departments to send threatening letters and challenge you, but we didn't have social media and all these other mechanisms that give people the ability to amplify things like this. And when you talk about what HUD means to any major urban city, it's not just the brick and mortar developments that we have. It's not just our massive and our very well laid out housing complexes. It's Section 8 vouchers. It's everything.
Absolutely.
And when you put a letter like this on the internet threatening an entire metropolitan American city, every single voucher holder, every single landlord who counts upon that revenue, who chose to rent their property to someone with a federal voucher, when in many cases they could rent that same property for more money, but they choose to do so to keep that housing affordable, you put all of them on notice and all at risk. And I certainly want to work with you guys, work with the council itself, and continue to try and figure out kind of what is, like, how do we stay in compliance, because not being in compliance is not an option.
Correct.
We do not have the wherewithal at the state or local level that if HUD were to terminate this money, there's no pot of money we can shake to replace it.
Absolutely.
So I look forward to working with you guys, working with the administration, working together to try and work with HUD through these issues, because we don't really have a choice, because there is no other outcome. We have to figure out a way to work through this. Councilman Druso, Councilman King, you want to say anything after Mr. Druso? Are you good? Okay, Mr. Druso.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, again, because there's been so many headlines, I think, as you and Councilmember Thomas have pointed out, that we sum this up very clearly. First, we can all agree that funding to the city of New Orleans related to HUD is untouched at this time.
That's correct.
All right. Second, Piano has processes in place that are complete, independent, and apart from the mayor of New Orleans, and Ms. Williamson has complete signing authority for procurement and non-procurement transactions.
Correct.
Third, Ms. Brown has complete signing authority for procurement and non-procurement transactions related to OCD.
That's correct.
Mr. Threat is being added as an additional source to be able to have signing authority for OCD.
That's correct.
Everybody at that table plans on being in compliance with both the letter and the rules that exist with the federal government at this point.
Absolutely, yes.
Correct.
Yep.
I'm done,
Good.
thank you.
All right. Is there any other questions? Do we have any comments from the audience? I know no cards were filled out, but okay.
There's
Well,
one online comment.
sure, go right ahead.
This is from Marguerite Pellerin. She asks, how will contracts with HUD that may be affected for affordable housing requests that are or will be affected before the city planning office agenda? There's a pending application from a group out of California with local office in Lafayette pending at this time before city planning. How will these needed programs be affected in terms of funding?
That seems very non-specific, but I think the way I would address that, based upon what we've heard today, is that based upon the mechanisms already available to the city, we can comply with what's required in this letter. Hano doesn't require any signatory authority. If there is any signatory authority, the mayor will assign Mr. Threat to be the signatory. So we will be in compliance with this letter, and we will not have any issues. Mr. Burnside.
Michael Eric Burnside, 2215 Felicity. I'd like to thank everybody, both on the dais and at the table, for being here today and helping us all understand something that we may not have been able to understand without their help. I will, I think, maybe point out two things that might be of some use or some interest. One of which is we are also citizens of the state of Louisiana. So whatever differences may exist between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, it would be nice to figure out a way to incorporate the state in finding a solution. The other thing is, I think maybe a newspaper article or something a little more in depth should be provided to the public as far as what does HUD really, truly mean to the city. I think a lot of people are vague on the numbers and they don't really understand the number of Section 8 vouchers and the number of landlords and the number of people that are outside of the actual developments and the impact on the city if something more drastic were to occur, so that people start caring and talking to their U.S. representatives, start talking to their U.S. senators, start talking to people that may or may not have an impact on the Trump administration. Because it's more than just terror, it's confusion. And people have a hard time reacting in a manner that's tied to their own survival if they don't have access to data. So Joe and I may disagree on some things, but as he points out, it's nice for us to share the same body of facts. And after we have the facts, perhaps we may or may not disagree on policy. And I think right now that it's a factless environment. There aren't really numbers out there for us to wrap our hands around. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. I also want to quickly add, I have been in contact with Congressman Carter. He's obviously aware of the city's concerns, and he is also working to get greater clarity from HUD, because obviously, as we have done our best to interpret the letter before us, there's some parts of it that are a bit confusing, and I think both the council, the administration, through Hano, through OCD, we all need to collectively kind of just really ask HUD for more clarification to make sure that we stay in compliance as the situation continues to evolve. So I want to thank everybody for being here today. I really appreciate it, and thank you for allowing us to clarify the public what's going on and to really try and address anything that's out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Move for adjournment. No objection, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.